We talked to the building department before we set this out to bid. At the pre-bid meeting, we said what the building department had told me was that the building permit would cover everything and that they wouldn't need to, because there's an existing house that's being demolished, they wouldn't need to pay the $175 for the demolition permit. It would be covered by the building permit. And then when Mondo went to pull their permits, the building department said, oh, you need a demolition permit as well. And so since I specifically said, in the bid, invitation to bid, we specifically said, and at the pre-bid meeting, we specifically said that a building permit would not be required. Obviously, Mondo didn't calculate it when they were determining what their bid price should be.
So we're increasing our contract to them, $175, that we're going to pay them for them to turn around and pay the building department.
Correct. So we're using $175 in federal funds to pay the building department for a demolition permit.
Okay. Did you talk to them after the fact to see if they couldn't just waive this and save the aggravation? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, any other questions? Go ahead and call the question. Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Warner?
Yes.
Ms. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liss?
Yes.
Ms. Comartin?
No.
Mr. Bacamino?
Yes.
Camp, yes. The motion passed 8-1.
Consideration and adoption of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the clerk to execute the necessary documents to sell and convey to Tiffany M. Smith for the sum of $35,000 or the amount of the appraisal obtained by her mortgage company, but no lower than the minimum of $30,000 plus purchaser's closing costs. The property described as 8252 Jewett, parcel ID number 13-27-307-032.
Need a motion and support?
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Green, support by Ms. Comartin. Any discussion? Ms. Furlong, I just have a quick question on this one. On the cover letter, in the second sentence, the home at 8252 Jewett has 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, no garage, and no basement. But the attached appraisal report lists full basement as well as the memorandum from Ms. DeVoli. Says style 1-story full basement. And on the uniform residential appraisal report into the what looks like the 3rd section, general description, 2nd column over, 2nd item down, it's checked off as full basement.
Good catch. It does not have a basement. It's on a crawl space, I believe.
Would that affect then the outcome of that appraisal report?
I hope not.
To be honest, for that reason, I will not be supporting this one.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions from council? Go ahead and call the question, Mr. Green.
Yes.
Ms. Comartin?
Yes.
Mr. Bacamino?
Yes.
Mr. Liss?
Yes.
Mr. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mr. Stevens?
No.
Ms. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Warner?
No.
Camp, no. The item passed 6-3.
Thank you.
Item 13C, tabulation of bids and recommendation in Ray Carpeting for the Arthur Miller Branch Library, bid ITB-W-8305, and consideration and adoption of a resolution accepting the lowest qualified bid submitted by Library Design Associates Incorporated in the amount of $89,628.
Need a motion and support for 13C?
Motion to approve. Discussion? Support.
Motion by Mr. Sadowski, support by Mr. Bacamino. Discussion, Mr. Sadowski.
Mrs. Henderstein, the question that I have is we will be moving the stacks to replace the carpet. And that seems to add that would probably be a tremendous addition to the expense. Now, my understanding is the company that we're going to be using has a hydraulic that can lift the stacks and move them books and all, so we do not have to take the books off, correct?
That's correct.
The question that I had is, we're going to be putting in the 3-foot by 3-foot panel carpeting, which I think is a great idea, because we can remove, because of wear patterns like you state in your letter. But if we're putting in 3 by 3s, couldn't we just cut the carpet and leave it under the stacks and then put the panels on the outside without even moving them?
You could do that if you knew for a fact that you never wanted to move those stacks again. We had done that in some of the older libraries, just cut around. But then when we wanted to actually move the stacks, perhaps you wanted to create a teen area or do something different, you know, with the library shelving, then you would have, you know, obviously the different carpet underneath those stacks then. So,
But if we decided to do that, we would still have the 3-foot by 3-foot panels, and we could cut those panels to fit it in there. I mean, if we decided, I don't know what the additional expenses to move the bookcases, and how that fits in, and how that fits into the bid. Just a thought, more or less. Do you know what the additional?
no, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from council members?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Mr. List?
Thank you for the floor. Ms. Henderstein, council approved your amended budget, did it not, after the millage proposal passed?
That's correct.
So I'm wondering if the city council even has jurisdiction to vote on this matter, because I believe that all spending is controlled by the library board. So I just don't think that, we've been through this issue once before. I think we took it off the agenda. I don't think it needs council approval for this expenditure.
Madam Chair?
Mr. Sadowski?
My understanding is that the Library Commission comes up with the budget that Mrs. Henderstein presents to us as a recommendation, and we ultimately approve it.
Any other comments from council members?
Madam Chair.
Ms. Comartin?
Good evening, Ms. Sunderstein.
Good evening.
Question for you in regards to this particular library. Isn't this the one that we had all the problems with the rolling of the carpeting and the issues that went through the building authority?
That's correct. We have tried to repair that, the buckling and the bubbles in the carpeting 3 different times. We had companies come out and actually inject glue into those areas, and it's still, we're still having problems with that.
Okay, now, with the piece or the sections that they're going to use, do you feel that that is going to help the situation? Since there was extra glue put in there, are we going to have any additional costs for the removal of that?
That's all included in the price. We specifically put information in there where they would have to take off the adhesive, then add a special skim coat on top of that, on top of the cement, so that we would not have this type of problem again.
Perfect. Okay, I just wanted to make sure it was addressed in the bid process and that it was covered, because I know it was a huge issue that you had before.
Right.
So thank you very much.
Any other comments from council members?
Madam Chair,
Mr. List?
I'm looking at the city charter, section 7.23, Library Commission, where it states that under subsection D, or paragraph D as in dog, the Library Commission shall have the power to authorize expenditures for the operation of the library, provided that such expenditures do not exceed the allowances or appropriation made therefore by council, which I believe is referring to the budget. For purpose of such appropriations, the council should appropriate and levy a tax, on and on about the tax. So I'm going to vote for it, but I don't think we need to.
Thank you. Any other comments? Ms. Henderson, first of all, I want to tell you, your pendant's very pretty. It shows up nice.
Thank you.
I have a question in regards to, obviously, we're doing repairs to Burnett and Bush, and I'm assuming that carpet will be part of those repairs as well.
Yes.
Was there any consideration that you're aware of that was given to the idea of bidding this out as a bundle package of all 3 locations, matching carpet, and trying to get a further discount?
Well, I think what we need to do with those libraries, we're working on an RFP to actually have an architect do an actual plan for those libraries. So I kind of would hate to do that, because they may suggest putting different carpet in the children's area, or, when they do come up with the plan for that. So we haven't made any huge changes at those branches just because I would like someone to take a look at the whole picture and see what they would recommend.
Okay, and maybe I can understand that. I'm just saying not so much that hurry up and do those other two, as why not hold this one off until those two are ready and that has been done? I'm just looking at, like even those 50 square extra tiles that we're getting, I don't know how much, 3 by 3 by 50, times 50 or whatever, as far as an area to cover. If we can make them interchangeable to each location, should we suffer some kind of severe damage somewhere, that I think that would be useful. And I also, I would hope that consideration, I mean, obviously we have children coming through Miller, especially being here at the community center, and with it being our newest, aside from the one at City Hall, it's one of our newest locations for the library. I guess I'm really since the millage passed, I'm really looking forward to the south end getting the attention that they deserve.
Yes, in fact, we just installed the heating and cooling unit that you had approved, and so it'll be much more comfortable in the Burnett branch.
Good to hear. Okay, with that, I'll go ahead and call the question. Mr. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mr. Bacamino.
Yes.
Ms. Comartin.
Yes.
Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Liss.
Yes.
Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
Ms. Vogt.
Yes.
Mr. Warner.
Yes.
Camp no, the item passed 8-1.
Thank you.
13D, tabulation of bids and recommendation in rate to furnish 1,200 tons of bituminous patching material for the Division of Public Works and the Water Division, ITB-W-8382, and consideration and adoption of a resolution accepting the lowest bid submitted by Ajax Material Corporation at a firm price per ton of $99.06 for a total amount of $118,872.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Stevens,
Support.
support by Mr. Sadowski. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Ms. Comartin?
is there anybody here from the city on this one? Oh, good. Good evening, Tom. Mr. Pelkowski, nice to see you.
Good evening, Council. Tom Palakowski.
I have a question for you. On the option 2, what is the difference between 2A and 2B? They both say that they're delivered in 50-ton truckloads per ton, and then 2B is less, but it also says that it's delivered in 50-ton truckloads. And why is the other one 2A more? I'm just a little confused by that, and I would just want to make sure then we are going with the delivery, but what's the difference in those two?
The only thing I could answer is that in 2B, they can store material at their site and then deliver it to us on demand, which helped us with the price.
Okay,
Because
so,
this material is very oil sensitive to pricing, because that's part of the material center. It helps us, give us the binding capabilities for using the materials. So that helps us with price.
okay, so
So we're trying to protect ourselves against any commodity price increase, particularly with oil.
all right, so even though it's on their site, we're still getting it delivered in the 50-ton quantities. It's just that they're housing it on their site.